Hi, this is Mike. I'm making my video. Uh, Today is 5/8/2025 and it's 7:35 p.m. Uh, so yeah, I'm making this video. Just straightening things up in my room. I feel better about that. And anyhow, you know, I I talk a lot about manifestation uh, and how to get life straight. And basically. Um, Once your mind is right, you conquer your mind, and then, of course, your body. You deny the flesh, and then, of course, you don't lean on your own understanding, so you conquer your mind, and then you conquer the flesh. And when you desire nothing, you know, and you know nothing, and you possess nothing. So your possessions don't possess you. Your body doesn't possess you. Your stomach is not your God. And of course, your sexual appetite is squashed, and your understanding is squashed. And then what happens is, when you understand that everything is an illusion outside of yourself, uh, you come to the conclusion, that life or your existence is an illusion as well. And then basically, I mean, it's real to you and it's tangible, but the thing is, those things can disappear in an instant. And when you realize that space, time, and time is an illusion, things can stop in time and slow down and then stop, and then eventually things can go back in time. And then, when you realize that things disappear, you realize that space time is an illusion, or you have power over even the sun. I always thought having an eclipse would be cool, but then I did something different. I made the sun turn green. And, with that being said, you realize that you have sway over the elements and earth, fire, wind, water. And then basically, once that's done, you realize that space-time can be manipulated and is an illusion. So then everything that's tangible outside of yourself, if you can touch it or see it or smell it or hear it, is an illusion. And it's all on the inside of your head, and that's the craziest thing about it. The inside becomes like the outside. And, it's really on the inside of your mind, everything is. And your mind is actually bigger than the universe. It has more neurons than there are stars or galaxies and stars and whatnot. So, with that being said, it's kind of a crazy thing. But we have the collective consciousness. We have, basically, uh, we have an existence, that basically uh, is bigger than the universe itself, and you have power over the universe. It says you can conquer the world, and you have to subdue the world. And when you subdue the world, the world actually works with you. But it can be subdued and controlled and manipulated. So I mean, once you understand that, once you see that, and then you rule over all, and it's more or less you rule over people. Sometimes you put words in their mouth, you make them fall out, or you make them have aneurysms, or you can strike people dead or make them disappear and stuff like that. So there's that. And then, of course, yourself, you conquer yourself and you conquer other people. And eventually that bleeds through to conquering the world itself and everything that you can see. So it's a very powerful state of being, and it's a very powerful state of mind. And, it's like you manifest things as well, whatever you're looking for. I got these, and I'm just tickled pink over them. I paid $50 for them. And, I basically got the $50 from a, I was able to find the $50 and I didn't pay anything for the $50. So more or less the gas it took to drive down there to get it, but even that was covered. So you know, I had to go through some links. I had to go through a lot of traffic and whatnot to get them, but these are very rare. The other ones that they make are plastic, and this one's an actual real one. It's metal, and it's a collector's item in my book, so it's rare. So I got a few things. I got a holographic projector I'm getting, and that, and then of course I'm gonna get a little robot that works with your cell phone. And so anyway, yeah, I got to unload some of this stuff in here. I do have some things to move yet, and you know, with that being said, you know, I do have some work ahead of me. But when that gets done, you know, then um, my journey isn't done yet, you know. But you know, I do have some things to work on, and very few things I have left on my bucket list. Uh, you know, I have a number of things yet, but not many. Maybe like 5 things, and then those 5 things, you know, will pretty much work out being completed. So, anyhow, at any rate, you know, that's how that works. So I try different things here and there, modalities and whatnot. And then, you know, I gotta say I'm pretty satisfied with my life. Uh, I'm happy with it. Um, but I do have a few things to work on. Uh, Not many though. When you have a perfect mind and a perfect body, my body isn't perfect. I've got some, you know, scars and stuff like that. I would like to get them removed and fixed, but you know, I don't know how to go about that. And then of course, you know, I do have that, and my eyesight's not the greatest, and I have diabetes and back pain and neck pain, and my hearing isn't the greatest either. But you know, with that being said, you know, I deal with whatever I have to deal with, and you know, it really amounts to how much do you want to suffer to get something. Sometimes when you suffer a lot, you get a lot of things. You keep scratching them off your list, you know, your vision board, and then you take them off, and then basically what happens is you get to the point where there's really not a whole lot left, and then you just keep doing that, and you know, eventually your life gets to the point where you're completed for the most part. But I don't think you ever do get completed. Man's eternal quest. I think there's limitlessness. You know, as far as like the things you can still accomplish and do. I don't think it stops. And with that being said, you know, there's all kinds of good things in store for you. So, yeah. Anyway, you know, a lot of people have trauma and from their childhood, and you know, from their experiences and whatnot. Those traumas, you know, they kind of, it's like the pain body, I guess. And you know, if you have a lot of traumas and whatnot, it kind of brings your mood down because your needs aren't being met, or you have questions about things and you're not getting those things answered. And then all of a sudden, a miracle will happen, you know, an epiphany, and it will collapse a wave function, and it cures everything, you know, that you were looking for, or you know, whatever it was. And you know, when that happens, you know, your life uh, gets to be easier, and you have like a light feeling, and of course your burdens are crushed. You have no more burdens, and you know, it's a good thing. And you know, that being said, you know, you just have things that are accomplished, and you no longer have to worry about those things. You no longer feel stressed out about them, and you know, your life gets to be peaceful and better. But I mean, some people think that they want to have absolute emptiness. Well, the truth is, when you're empty, it gets filled with the Holy Spirit. But you know, the Queen of Heaven, or even, you know, God's power, you know, Shakti and Shiva. And you know, with that being said, You know, those things take place, and you get filled. And then when you get filled, the windows of heaven open up. You know, your eyes become open, and you receive blessings that are so big that you can't contain them. And that goes on for a period of time. I've been doing this for 30 years, I think. Yeah, 30 years, and it's been a process. And I've gotten to the point where I've achieved incredible wealth, but now I'm just doing things, and I'm still achieving things. But you know, I'm not. I'm not basically to the point where I'm lukewarm and wishy-washy. And I basically get to the point where I accomplish things, and I don't have a lot of fear in my life, but it is there. But I do accomplish things. So with that being said, I do what I can do to achieve whatever I have to achieve. But these traumas, they get eradicated, and then when they get eradicated, you have this. You don't have the nagging questions all the time. You don't have the repetitive voices in your head telling you things that you don't appreciate or, bothering you and stuff like that. And then you end up silencing those voices and then nagging things that are eating at you. And of course, you just gotta face your problems. And then when you do, and then eventually it gets to the point where you really don't have any kind of problems. And when that happens, then you feel better. And as far as things go, I just have to work out at the gym. I will, and it's just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. And of course, there's that. And then I've got, I do have things I appreciate, and I'm thankful for. And of course, like the other day when I got those binoculars, I had to go through a major amount of anxiety, and energy, and finally I made up my mind to go get them. And I went and got them. But yeah, it's just like I literally got them for next to nothing. So it's like they're worth $800 or whatever. But I'm not really in the mood to sell them until I have to. So that's just the way things are, just one thing after another. You keep completing them. And, the thing is that people don't seem to understand is we're in heaven. This is heaven that we're in. It can turn into hell, but the thing is, it's really truly paradise. It's heaven. And, I don't necessarily see any higher heaven than this. Maybe a different planet where things are more advanced, but honestly, I think things are right at the point where I want them right now. And, so you have high energy, and then you have, believe that all things are possible. There's infinite possibilities in every action. And, of course, determination. And, like I said, gratitude, and then, giving and taking, opening yourself up to receiving. You reap what you sow. And, there's a few other ones after that. I can't remember what they were. You have to sacrifice. What are you willing to give up, to get where you're going or what you want? Where are you now financially or whatever, and then where do you want to go? What are you looking for, and what are you willing to give up? How much are you willing to suffer to get that thing, or meet that person, or have that experience? So it's like it's a trade-off. You have every so often your mind has to clean itself out. You clean out the cup and you fill it with new wine, and you get the old wine, the old ideas, the old wisdom, and you destroy it. And of course, you destroy your ego. That's definitely necessary. You have to humble yourself. So anyway, that's all I really have to say.